The childhood sweethearts and the school beauty were caught stealing a forbidden kiss at school. To protect the school beauty, he claimed that I was his girlfriend and bit me. As a result, I was suspended. The school beauty, with red eyes, said, "Are you happy now? Just a few days off, and now the whole school thinks you two are a real couple. So, what am I to you?" The childhood sweetheart tried to comfort her by not letting me return to school. "Be good. It's a critical review period. And seeing you will upset her. Anyway, you do well in school. You can study at home." I didn't listen to him and went to school anyway. The childhood sweetheart sneered. "So you just wanted to see me?" He didn't know that I was there to handle my transfer paperwork. A month later, the childhood sweetheart called to ask why I was transferring. But on the other end of the line came the sticky voice of a boy. The tone tinged with a slight teasing. "How can you not focus when doing such things? Why are you even answering calls from others? Isn't one enough for you? Come on. Hang up the phone." After receiving the thin transfer application, I sighed in relief. The school leaders, somewhat reluctant, still tried to persuade me. "Stella, we made a mistake before. We should have investigated the truth before suspending you. The school apologizes. Can you reconsider transferring?" I gently shook my head, my attitude firm. When I said goodbye to my favorite teachers, I couldn't help but tear up. One teacher gently wiped my tears away. "As much as I'll miss you, your talents are too precious to waste here." Just as I was about to reach the door of the classroom, I heard Dylan's lazy laugh. "For hours in line to get this. Would the young lady care for a bite?" Dylan, in a familiar posture, was half leaning against Chloe's desk. He held a piece of tiramisu, teasingly feeding it to her, the spoon hovering near her lips. It was hard to imagine someone like Dylan would patiently wait in line. Chloe still had a hint of feigned anger on her face, but her lips couldn't help but curl into a smile. "TSK. The young lady finally wants to smile at me?" Chloe huffed. "Who told you to call others your girlfriend? I just want to teach you a lesson. See if you dare to do it again." Dylan wore a smile, almost begging for forgiveness. "Wasn't it for you? Stella is the top of our grade. At most she'll just get suspended. You're just a regular student. If you get caught, it's expulsion." Chloe, with a proud, hampered look in her eyes, glanced at me standing at the door and asked deliberately, "Then aren't you worried about Stella being expelled?" Dylan placed his finger on Chloe's lips, his gaze playful. "Isn't that perfect? It'll save you from seeing her and getting upset. As long as the young lady hasn't calmed down, I won't let Stella come back to school. Will you forgive me now?" Chloe slapped his hand away, lifting her chin. "Then who's this standing at the door? Are you blind?" Dylan's smile vanished the moment he turned to look at me. He quickly walked toward me and dragged me out of the classroom, his face showing annoyance. "What are you doing here? I told you to study at home. Didn't I? It's the critical review period. What if you upset her? She's finally calmed down. And you show up. Now all my effort is wasted." Perhaps because I had given up, I didn't break down and cry like before. I pulled away from his grip, preparing to enter the classroom to pack up my things. Dylan froze when he saw the redness around my eyes. "You really miss me that much?" He sighed helplessly. "Fine. Go home now. And I'll come back early to keep you company. All right?" Dylan hooked his index finger around my pinky, shaking it lightly. I was momentarily lost in thought. Dylan and I were childhood sweethearts. Our parents had been old classmates for years, then became neighbors after they started working. Even we were born on the same day of the same year. Dylan was a few minutes older than me, and his parents always told him, "You must take care of your little sister." On the day of our catching the first things ritual, Dylan grabbed onto me and wouldn't let go. When we were in kindergarten, the first 3 words Dylan learned to write were Stella. I stuttered as a child, and when others teased me, Dylan would beat them up. When I was 10, my mother passed away, and I locked myself in my room, refusing to eat or drink. Dylan couldn't get through the door, so he climbed in from the 3rd-floor window. He hooked my pinky with his finger and comforted me for a whole day and night. I cried uncontrollably, asking again and again, Will you leave me? He hugged me tightly, repeating in a hoarse voice, I won't leave you. When Dylan failed the high school entrance exam, I gave up the better educational resources at an experimental school and stayed with him at our regular school. I believed we would be together forever. But once we entered high school, Dylan suddenly became a different person. He found me too clingy and annoying, deliberately keeping his distance from me at school. His attention shifted from me to the school beauty Chloe, and he began a passionate pursuit of her. Half a month ago, he kissed Chloe in the woods, and the photo was leaked by someone and posted on the school wall. In the photo, Dylan's tall figure completely covered the girl in his arms. You could only see her disheveled hair and a small section of her pale neck. The school director, who often checked the school wall, saw the photo and became furious, questioning who the girl was. Dylan, however, publicly embraced me, kissing my forehead and teasingly raising the corner of his lips. Why ask? Of course. It's my childhood sweetheart. I had imagined many times what it would be like if Dylan confessed to me. But I never thought he would push me aside to shield another girl. I won't leave you, that sincere, burning promise still echoed in my ears. But Dylan was no longer the boy from my memories. I pulled away from my memories and broke free from Dylan's hand again. When he saw me packing my things, Dylan's frown relaxed, and his expression became understanding. You could have just told me what books you needed. Why go through all this trouble? Don't you know today is? Dylan hesitated, then didn't finish his sentence. Forget it. Chloe's upset now. I'll have to comfort her for a long time. I didn't like to talk much, so I didn't tell Dylan about my transfer. Packing up my books didn't take long. The senior year textbooks were heavy and cumbersome, and my arms were starting to feel sore. When I almost couldn't hold on anymore, Dylan unnaturally reached out and took the books from me. Walking ahead. Let's go. I'll take you home. He easily carried the whole bag of books in one hand without breaking a sweat. He casually tossed a dessert bag to me. Bought you some chestnut pastries you like. Remember to eat them when you get home. I ran a few steps to catch up, grabbing the strap of the bag, trying to snatch it back. Dylan simply swung the bag to the other hand, freeing up the other hand to grab the back of my neck. His voice laced with amusement. Stop fooling around. With your little arms and legs. Would you break them trying to carry this home? Suddenly, Chloe's voice rang out, Dylan. She bit her lip, her expression full of grievance. My stomach hurts. Dylan turned his head sharply. The next second, the bag was suddenly thrown into my arms, and I stumbled, my hip knocking against the corner of the desk. Take a cab home by yourself. Dylan didn't even look at me as he ran toward Chloe. Adele ache spread along my hip bones as I struggled to pick up the backpack that had fallen to the ground. I limped toward the door. Behind me, Chloe's soft voice floated over. Your first love seems to have been crushed. It looks kind of pitiful. Is it cramping? Is your period here? But she really was crushed. Sit still. Don't move. Dylan's voice carried a hint of impatience, though it wasn't directed at Chloe. I'll go buy a heating pad and some brown sugar water. As I stepped into the hallway, the noise around us grew louder. Their voices slowly faded into the distance. Finally, having fulfilled my desire, Chloe's coquettish voice reached my ears. You're so good to me. I tossed the chestnut pastry into the trash bin and turned to leave. After I got home, I received a call from the experimental middle school. Stella, we've prepared a brand new dormitory and daily necessities for you. Just come on over. The admissions officer's voice was warm, tinged with a smile. When do you plan on starting? The new students can't wait to meet you. I thought for a moment. Tomorrow, I guess. After hanging up, my dad knocked on the door, holding a plate of fruit. I had suddenly brought up the idea of transferring schools that day, expecting him to ask, why would you transfer? But instead, he just nodded and said, where do you want to go? I'll go ask about the transfer procedures tomorrow. I wanted to tell him about the situation at school, but the words caught in my throat, and I only cried. It doesn't matter whether you say it or not. His hand gently patted my back, comforting me like he did when I was younger. I know you're not the type to throw tantrums. If transferring is what you need, let's move to a new place and start fresh. You're my daughter. No matter what you want to do, I'll be with you. I begged him to keep it from Dylan's parents. He was a little surprised but agreed, preparing everything for me. This time, I couldn't sacrifice my future any longer. I began packing up the things Dylan had given me. The birthday and holiday gift boxes were piled up in the corner. Hundreds of little Stella's, carefully folded by him to cheer me up when I was feeling low, were scattered all over the floor. A bear as tall as a person took up half of the bed, while expensive dresses and hand-knitted gloves were piled together. There was also the instant camera, with a fixed tack of photos next to it, all taken by him, pulling me along to be in the frame. 2 large cardboard boxes in total. By the time I taped up the boxes, I realized it was already night. I struggled to carry the boxes downstairs. The trash bin was at the corner of the street, and just as I raised my hand to throw them in, I heard the sound of laughter and chatter carried by the wind. Dylan was holding a beer can, laughing brightly. Chloe was affectionately leaning on his arm, holding a sparkler. Someone shouted, "Chloe, make a wish," and someone started singing happy birthday. So today was Chloe's birthday. The group was laughing and chatting, and somehow, the topic turned to my transfer. I heard someone in our grade is transferring. Is it Stella? How could that be? Dylan, who had been lowering his head to fix Chloe's hair, scoffed at the question. She's so attached to me. She couldn't possibly leave. True. She's been obedient. Not coming to school. Dylan, Lilian, you're really ruthless. Aren't you worried about her grades dropping? Dylan replied carelessly, yet with absolute certainty. It's fine. She'll just go to the same university as me. No point in worrying about the grades. Chloe stomped her foot. Dylan, do you have to bring her up on my birthday? Dylan tingly flicked her nose. How many times do I have to say it? She's just my sister. Are you really going to get jealous over her too? Once the trash was disposed of, I was about to head home when I saw Chloe smack Dylan's arm in mock reproach. On her wrist was the unmistakable red string. I rushed over without thinking. That's mine. Dylan turned quickly, surprise flashing in his eyes. Stella? What are you doing here? I couldn't mistake it. The red string had a small silver bead inlaid with Stella's name. My mom had painstakingly asked a monk for it when she was ill. I wore one, and Dylan wore the other. My mom said it was to protect us both. This red string would stand in for her, always by our side. The string was frayed now, worn down by 5 years of use. Dylan had worn it for that long. But now, he was giving my mother's keepsake to Chloe. How dare he? Chloe shrank behind Dylan, her voice trembling. Why are you acting crazy? It's so scary. Slap. The sharp sound of a slap echoed in the night, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. Dylan turned his head to the side. He froze, his expression showing a mix of surprise and anger. Chloe's eyes welled up, and she immediately yanked the red string off. Who cares about your broken string? She tossed it over the bridge railing. Take it back. Dylan's been so good to you. And you actually hit him? Dylan instinctively grabbed her wrist, his face darkening. Who told you to throw it? I watched the red string disappear into the riverbank below the bridge. Without hesitation, I turned and climbed over the bridge's guardrail. Stella. Dylan. 2 panicked voices rang out in unison. Chloe held Dylan tightly. Don't go. She's doing this on purpose. Don't you remember how she slapped you just now? She doesn't care about your feelings. Dylan's hand froze in midair. His eyes swirled with conflict. A mixture of anger, worry, and a stab of humiliation. This bridge isn't that high, and the water's not that deep. She's just trying to scare you. Your mouth's bleeding. Let's go to the hospital. After a long pause, Dylan's voice turned cold as ice. We're leaving. The river water reached my knees, its biting cold wrapping around me. This bridge was a regular path to school. I suddenly remembered the past. Dylan would always hold my hand and walk in the center of the bridge, not letting me near the railing. Stay away. What if you fall? I'd joke and lean toward the railing. What if you fall? He gripped my hand tighter. If I fall, have I fall. It's fine. But you can't fall. The bridge that once seemed so high now felt like nothing more than a small leap to cross. In the end, I found the red string wedged in the cracks of the stone. On the way home, something clicked. It wasn't that the bridge had gotten shorter. It was that the person who used to care whether I fell or not had stopped caring. But that was fine. I didn't need his company anymore. The teacher at experimental middle school was so enthusiastic it left me a little overwhelmed. As soon as we met, my backpack was yanked off, and a packed breakfast was shoved into my hands. Finally got you here. Pick any seat you like. We've already prepared the study materials for you. And your new uniform is all washed and placed in your desk drawer by the janitor. Our class atmosphere is great. If you need anything, feel free to come to me. My office is at the end of the corridor. And the door is always open for you. The enrollment process was so fast. Before I could even walk into the administration office, everything was already taken care of. I was still in a daze when I heard the voice of a boy coming from the office. Clear and full of a pleading tone. Teacher, please approve my transfer request. I really want to go to No. 1 High. Considering our 2 years, 6 days, 3 hours, and 1 minute of teacher-student bond. Please just say yes. The teacher's sigh of helplessness could be heard in the background. It's not that I don't want to. The boy urgently interrupted. Stella is my lifelong rival. I have to transfer to compete with her. Otherwise, I can't eat or sleep. Me. The homeroom teacher walked in, patted the boy on the shoulder, and said, "You don't need to transfer anymore, because your rival is here." The boy froze, quickly turning around. I instinctively looked up and met a pair of beautiful almond eyes. The boy's school uniform sleeves were rolled up to his elbows, and his collar slightly open, revealing a chiseled yet graceful collarbone. A most ordinary blue and white school uniform looked incredibly good on him. Stella? The boy's eyes sparkled brightly. His speech rapid as if wound up like a spring. I'm Leo. From Class A. I've heard so much about you. I've been competing since elementary school. 7 years in a row as the first. And you entered the competition for the first time and directly knocked me out. You beat me by 15 points. Since then, I've been restless, unable to eat or sleep. I've been dreaming of transferring to the same school as you to compete. But the teacher refused. Now, you've come. And I don't even need to transfer anymore. From now on, we'll be study partners. By the way, I found a set of precious practice papers. The questions are super interesting. I've thought of 5 ways to solve them. As Leo spoke, he produced the papers as if performing a magic trick. Starting today, the seat by the window in the back row is mine. Use it next to me. Shall we start now? I looked down at the papers in his hand, then met his sparkling eyes. I could only feel a buzzing in my head. This person is really noisy. I adapted to life at the new school very quickly. But my desk partner's presence was a bit overwhelming. During the evening self-study, I was doing exercises. Leo was spinning his pen and chatting with me. Stella, look at this physics problem. The sound of my pen hitting the paper made me pause. Leo immediately quieted down, putting his finger to his lips and grinning. Tell me. I'll wait for you. Please. Don't call me that. Leo froze for a moment. Has anyone ever called you that before? I glanced at the problem he was pointing to, then changed the subject. Use the momentum theorem. Right. Leo suddenly clapped his hands and started muttering to himself about how to solve the problem. I opened my mouth, wanting to ask him to move a little farther away. He noticed I hesitated, quickly waved his hand and said, "What do you want to say? Take your time. I won't interrupt." I wanted to say, "You're a bit noisy." But seeing his bright eyes, I couldn't bring myself to say it and shook my head. Leo continued to babble. Your handwriting is really beautiful. You're also pretty. You're good at studying. I really envy you. By the way, I brought 2 oranges. They're super sweet. Want to try? I was about to wave my hand to decline when he quickly peeled one and shoved it into my hand. Take it. Take it. You've worked hard on that problem. You need some energy. Ruby from the desk behind suddenly leaned forward. I want one too. Leo peeled off a segment and handed it to her. She grinned teasingly, prioritizing beauty over friends. Leo, with a serious face, shook his head, prioritizing rivals over friends. Ruby pulled a pair of earplugs from her pocket and handed them to me. Stella, don't let him scare you away. By the way, have you tried the food at window number 2? It's really good. I'll take you there tomorrow. I was a little at a loss. All the new classmates are so enthusiastic. The noise caught the teacher's attention. Leo, can you keep that mouth of yours under control? Leo fell silent. 2 seconds later, a paper ball rolled over to my desk. It had bold, swirling characters on it. Is the orange sweet? Me. Seeing him quickly write more, I hurriedly nodded. His eyes lit up even more. Like a child who'd just gotten a candy. I suddenly felt that having someone talk to you wasn't so bad after all. The monthly exams ended. And unsurprisingly, I came first again. Leo pounded his chest and swore he would surpass me next time. Looking at the small curls on his forehead drooping down, I couldn't help but smile. But then I met his sparkling eyes. You have such a pretty smile. If I'm always second place, that's fine. My face turned a little red, and I hurried into the office to get my answer sheet. The homeroom teacher was happy to see me. Stella, the school is holding a rally, and they want you to be the student representative. It's usually Leo's job. Would you like to do it? On the podium, there would be spotlights, and the audience would be packed. Just thinking about it made my palms sweat with nervousness. I was about to shake my head in refusal. Hey, Graceful Xianxia. I heard they're asking you to represent? Impressive. Stella. Leo smiled and rubbed my head. I can't. I stutter. He immediately stopped smiling. So what if you stutter? Last time you explained a problem to me. It was a little slow, having to full wide sigh. But every word was clear. It's an honor for them to hear you speak. His words made my cheeks burn. Back in the first year of middle school, the teacher once called on me to share my thoughts on studying. I opened my mouth, and before I could get out the words, someone in the audience laughed. Dylan, my desk partner at the time, suddenly slammed his pen on the desk and yelled at them. What are you laughing at? I actually wanted to try hard to finish my speech. But Dylan pulled me down from the podium, looking impatient. Don't say it if you can't get it out. They won't understand anyway. Later, those who laughed at me were cornered by him in the alley and beaten up. But since then, I never dared to speak in public again. And my relationships with others suffered as a result. But Leo didn't have a mocking bone in him. How about we find an empty classroom to practice first? I'll be your audience. You can speak slowly. And if you get stuck, I'll applaud. Looking into his sparkling eyes, I suddenly found the courage to nod. The homeroom teacher slapped Leo on the head, looking stern. Remember, no skipping class. I finished my speech draft during evening self-study. After school, Leo took the paper from my hands. He marked the spaces between the sentences with red ink, drawing lots of small triangles. You can take a breath here. Add a gesture here. When I gave my first speech, I was so nervous I almost dropped the microphone. But I still went ahead. You're way better than I was. You'll definitely do great. Under his expectant gaze, I took a deep breath. Respected teachers. I practiced for a long time, but there were still moments when I stumbled. Leo seemed to notice my frustration. Do you know? When I was little, I talked so much that the teacher would make me stand. My classmates avoided me, saying I was like a buzzing fly. He smiled, eyes narrowing. Once, I cried to my mom, saying no one wanted to listen to me, and then I would stop talking. My mom bought me a voice recorder and told me to record everything I wanted to say. She said, talking a lot isn't a bad thing. Someone will always want to listen. Look at me now. I'm still talking. Right? Leo paused, his voice rising slightly at the end. You're the same. Someone is always waiting to hear you talk. Like me. So don't worry. The rally is still a long way off. I'll practice with you. My heart seemed to skip a beat, as if something had gently nudged it. The evening breeze rose, carrying the faint scent of oranges from him, enveloping my nose. I slowly loose and the hand that had been gripping my shirt. Leo, one that, thank you. The mobilization meeting went smoothly. After a week of practice, my speech was slow. But at least I didn't stutter. I wanted to buy Leo a gift but had no idea what he liked. I asked Ruby, who smiled mysteriously. He's obsessed with studying. So I gave Leo the latest set of provincial mock exams. He happily accepted it. Then, having fulfilled my obsession, without hesitation, he opened the first page and began scribbling calculations. By the way, Leo suddenly stopped writing. That. This weekend. There's a CAF near the school with a seat by the window where the sunlight is great. We should go there and study. I was stunned by his rapid speech. Frozen in place. He immediately added. We'll just study. Nothing else. I'll treat you to coffee as a thank you. How about it? Okay. The weekend sun was indeed bright and warm. But my mind was elsewhere. My gaze constantly drifting across the room. Leo was bent over the table, working through a difficult physics problem, the tip of his pen moving across the paper with a rhythmic scratch. Suddenly, he looked up and smiled at me. You marked the electric field direction wrong on this question. He reached over and tapped my draft paper. Our hands nearly touched. And I could feel the warmth of his skin even through the space between us. I quickly withdrew my hand, nearly dropping my pen. Stella? He tilted his head. His eyes filled with confusion. Why is your face a little red? Did the air conditioning get turned up to high? Just then, my phone rang. I didn't pay attention to the caller ID, picking up the call as if clinging to a lifeline. Hello? There was silence on the other end. Just as I was about to check who was calling, Dylan's voice came through. Stella, when did you transfer schools? You didn't even tell me. His tone was light, casual. It was as if I hadn't transferred at all. As if everything that had happened before never occurred. Why are you silent? Stop fooling around. Come back soon. I haven't seen you in a while. I really miss you. His casual tone pricked me like a fine needle. The days when others whispered and scrutinized. The night by the riverbank, when I shivered, holding the red string. It was as if those memories were erased by his fleeting words. Leo, who had been twirling his pen, paused. He must have heard Dylan's voice. Leo tilted his head and suddenly leaned in. His voice not too loud, but just enough for the person on the phone to hear. Filled with affectionate, playful complaining. How can you not focus on this? Taking someone else's call. Am I not enough for you? Come on. Hang up the phone. Dylan's voice instantly turned cold. His laughter vanishing without a trace. Stella. Who is that next to you? What are you doing right now? Where are you? I'll come find you. Leo blinked at me with his bright, innocent eyes. A look that screamed, I didn't do anything. I tightened my grip on the phone. Speaking slowly. Each word sharp. It's none of your business. I'm not going back. With that, I hung up and blocked him. Leo looked thoughtful. I get it now. He's your ex. Right? I blinked. Surprised. I was about to deny it when Leo nodded to himself. Of course. Someone as amazing as you must have had a few ex-boyfriends. That guy sounds like he'll keep bothering you. So, do you want me to pretend to be your boyfriend? I was stunned. What? Leo winked at me. A playful yet serious glint in his eyes. I guarantee I'll send him packing. 1 for 1. After that, I can even beat him up. I'm both smart and strong. I used to be the king of the school here. His playful tone carried a mix of sincerity and hope. I curved my lips into a small smile. He's not my ex-ex. He's just a classmate. Leo raised an eyebrow, tapping his fingers rhythmically on the table. First, he calls you Stella. I used to call you Stella. But you wouldn't let me. Second, when he heard my voice, his tone immediately turned cold, clearly possessive. Third, your face wasn't good when you answered the phone. You two must have fought. Is that why you're transferring? Leo paused and suddenly leaned in. Even if he's not your ex, he's definitely an important person to you. Right? I was left speechless by his deductions. After a beat, I finally spoke. His name is Dylan. He's my childhood friend. He used to be very important. But not anymore. Then I'm relieved. Leo paused. What I mean is, he'll definitely come looking for you. I shook my head. Dylan was all about saving face. There was no way he'd come after me, after I hung up and blocked him. He probably called me just because of Chloe. Leo clearly disagreed with my assessment. But he didn't press the issue further. Muttering to himself. Well, I'll just keep an eye on it. The workload in senior year was heavy. And I soon pushed this matter to the back of my mind. Until the next weekend rolled around. As I walked out of the school gates, I saw that familiar figure. Dylan was leaning against the sycamore tree not far away, wearing an O-1 high school uniform. His hands were in his pockets, and his eyes were fixed on the school gate. The sunlight bathed him, giving off an air of stubborn coldness. His gaze shifted to Leo beside me, and he spoke with a heavy voice. Stella. Who is he? I didn't expect Dylan to come looking for me. I tried to walk past him. But he stepped directly in front of me, reaching out as if to grab my hand as he always did. But Leo smiled and blocked him. Hi, I'm Stella's desk mate. You must be the person from the phone, right? Nice to meet you. Dylan frowned. Why are you calling her Stella? Leo smiled his usual smile, but his words were sharp in contrast. Why are you calling her Stella? Dylan's face darkened. And he turned to me. What were you two doing that day? Leo casually blocked me, blocking Dylan's cold gaze. We're together every day. Which day are you talking about? Let me think. Oh, that day. We were studying together. Look at your face. Stella must not have studied with you, right? We did a set of physics competition mock questions. And we discussed a few tough ones. Stella's problem solving was really clear. Even better than the standard answers. Dylan's frown deepened. And several times he tried to speak. But Leo interrupted him. By the way, hadn't fulfilled my session. That problem really was difficult. I got stuck on the last electromagnetism question for 20 minutes. And it was Stella who reminded me to switch formulas. You wouldn't know how serious she is when explaining the problems. We even ordered coffee. The CAF had such interesting latte art. They even incorporated the first letters of our names. Though I messed it up by stirring it. Can you shut the hell up? Dylan finally snapped. His voice laced with anger. Leo still smiled innocently. Why are you so upset? You're the one who asked what we were doing. Dylan's muscles tensed. Veins popping at his temples. I'm talking to her. What does it have to do with you? I'm her desk mate. Leo grinned innocently. As though he hadn't heard the animosity in Dylan's words. Unlike some people. Who get blocked and still come bothering her. How embarrassing. Dylan turned to me. Wearing a pitiful expression. Stella. He's so annoying. I really missed you. Tell him to go away, I want to talk to you alone. Dylan seemed certain that I was still the old Stella. All he had to do was lower his head slightly. And he would be forgiven. Around us. Students were slowly stopping to watch. I didn't want to become the center of gossip. So I calmly looked at Dylan. But I don't want to talk to you. Go away. Dylan froze. His face pale. Disbelief written across it. Leo gave me a thumbs up and whispered. You're so cool. On the way to the CAF with Leo. Someone kept following us. Like a shadow that couldn't be shaken off. We sat by the window. And Dylan positioned himself at the neighboring table. Even pulling it closer so that his elbow nearly touched ours. When I explained a problem to Leo. He leaned over. His voice softened in a calculated attempt to please. What problem are you explaining? I want to listen too. Leo paused mid-stroke. Turned to him with an innocent smile. Just to clarify. I have absolutely. Not one bit. The slightest intention of insulting you or belittling your intelligence, you really won't understand this. Although Dylan's grades were decent. In a school full of top students. He wasn't remarkable. He tugged at the corner of his mouth. Ignoring Leo. His eyes locked on me. Impossible to ignore. Anyone with a human surveillance device like that nearby would struggle to focus. Minutes ticked by. And I kept getting distracted. Managing to solve only two problems. Dylan stayed in the same position. staring at me. Finally, having fulfilled my abscess, I could take no more. I set my pen down and looked him squarely in the eye. What? What exactly do you want? A glimmer of light flashed in Dylan's eyes. His tone cautious. I just want to say a few words to you. Just a few. I felt nothing but resistance. But this drawn-out standoff was useless. Precious study time could not be wasted. Leo seemed to sense my hesitation and stood up at the right moment. I'll go grab a coffee. The moment he left, Dylan took out a brand new red string bracelet, adorned with a small silver bead shaped like Stella. His fingertips whitened from gripping it too tightly. He whispered. That night at the riverbank, I couldn't find the one Aunt gave me. So I went to Meow Mountain to get a new one. This time, I'll take good care of it. Stella. I know I was wrong. The memory of my mother tying red strings on our wrists was still vivid. What right did Dylan have to think a casual red string could earn my forgiveness? Don't call me Stella. You don't deserve it. My voice trembled as I snatched the string and threw it to the ground. Dylan's hand froze my jaw. He looked at me pleadingly, clutching my hand and raising it to his face. It's my fault. Don't be angry, just hit me. Please. I pulled my hand away and wiped my fingertips with alcohol. Enough. Now, go away. Dylan didn't give up. He suddenly stopped attending his own classes, finding ways to sneak into the experimental school. Sometimes he appeared at the edge of the playground during recess, watching me from afar. Leo would deliberately position himself in front of me, discussing problem-solving strategies. Sometimes during lunch break, Dylan would wait outside our classroom, holding the chestnut pastries I used to love. Leo would pull oranges out of his backpack, smiling. We brought snacks, so no need to trouble you. Gradually, casually, rumors began circulating around the school. Look. That boy comes to our school every day looking for the top student. I heard he's from Yizong and got caught dating someone. Huh? How could Stella be involved with someone like that? Could she be dating him? Even the teachers gently reminded me to talk to Dylan, to avoid affecting other students' studies or they would involve the security staff. I felt restless and irritated. One weekend after school, Dylan waited under the phoenix tree. I stormed up to him. Do you know how annoying you are? You're interfering in my life. To my surprise, I didn't stutter. Dylan's face turned pale. I just wanted to. Don't say anything. I don't want to see you again. I don't want to hear anything about you. Can you just disappear from my life completely? I just want to explain. His tone carried a trace of obsession. Besides the red string. And what happened with your suspension? I want to apologize. After you left, I realized the person I really liked was always you. I know it's ridiculous to say now, but I really. He took a deep breath, his eyes slowly reddening. My parents told me since I was a kid, as your older brother, I had to protect Stella. The neighbors would joke whenever they saw us together. And friends would ask, when they saw me alone, where's she? At the time, I was annoyed, thinking, why should you be in my life? Why should everyone expect me to be good to you? So I deliberately got close to others, to show I wasn't tied to you. But after you left, I realized. Dylan. I gently interrupted him. Actually, I also hated it when people made fun of us. Those ridiculous jokes from the neighbors. The teasing from classmates. Dylan found them irritating. Did that mean I would like it? But I never intended to hurt you. I would keep telling them not to say those things. Even if they didn't listen, I would quietly take a different route to avoid them. Dylan was stunned. His lips moved, but no words came out. The phoenix leaves rustled loudly. I looked at his reddening eyes and softly said, Dylan, don't hurt me anymore. My life now is good. I have my dream university. People I want to walk through life with. I don't want to go back to the past. I have my own life now. A future without you. Dylan never appeared again. Senior year flew by as if fast-forwarded. Although it was tough, when the college entrance exam ended, there was even a hint of reluctance to let go. Leo and I unsurprisingly went to the top university. The day I received my acceptance letter, I unexpectedly got a call from Chloe. She apologized. saying she didn't know the red string was my mother's heirloom. Thinking it was just an ordinary gift I gave Dylan. She added that both she and Dylan had performed poorly on the exam. She stayed at our school, while Dylan went to a neighboring city to repeat a year. I said nothing, hanging up immediately. Leo held the acceptance letter, his ears tinged with an unusual blush. After lingering outside the CAF for a while, he cautiously pushed the door open. In the 37°C heat, he wore an all-black suit, completely different from his usual school uniform. I looked at him curiously. Why? Wait. Leo took a deep breath. Let me speak first this time. I heard the university library is super competitive. You have to get there by 7 a.m. to claim a seat. And the courses are tough with so many brilliant students from all over the place. The competition is even fiercer than in high school. Now, we're going to the same city for college. Can you? His speech slowed a little, his eyes sparkling. He looked everywhere but at me. Can you give me a chance to reserve the window seat in the library for you every day? To study all the professional books with you? I want to buy a bike to take you to class every day. Of course. We can skip studying too. And do whatever you want. I'll be with you. Whatever it is. Watching him ramble on, I couldn't help but smile softly. All right. I know you've been through a lot before. And if you don't want to give me a chance, that's fine too. Leo suddenly stopped, blinking in surprise as if just realizing something. Eh? His voice couldn't hide his joy. I knew it. No, wait, I didn't expect you to agree so quickly. I still had so much more I wanted to say. I'm listening. Take your time. Leo's beautiful eyes shone with excitement. To sum it up in one sentence, your future library seat is officially taken by me. The end. I had been by Gavin's side for 7 years, accompanying him from nothing to the company's IPO. At the celebration banquet, however, he publicly announced his relationship with my sister. The strategy had failed, and the system withdrew the emotional thread from me. When Gavin took my sister Lulu's hand on stage, I hadn't even fully processed what was happening, until he gently held Lulu's hand and said, "Today is the day our company goes public. And also the first day Lulu and I are together." The crowd fell silent for a moment, and the eyes that were now on me made my mind go blank. My limbs went cold. I had been in an ambiguous relationship with him for 7 years, stood by his side through hardships, and worked toward this day. He had promised me that once the company went public, we would officially be together. But now, the main character had changed, and the new lead was none other than my sister. I didn't even know when they had become involved. Gavin's gaze crossed the crowd, locking on me for a brief moment before quickly shifting away. Don't you all want to congratulate us? The eyes that had been scrutinizing us dispersed, and enthusiastic applause broke out. The system's mechanical voice echoed in my mind. Host, the strategy has failed. As punishment, the emotional thread will be forcibly withdrawn. A sharp pain shot through me, and everything went dark. All I could hear were startled gasps around me. In the agony and darkness, those 7 years flashed by like a fleeting dream. I had emotional issues, a coldness toward others, and had seen psychologists to no avail. The love-struck system had approached me, offering an emotional thread and setting a mission. I had 7 years to win over Gavin, or the thread would be taken back. With the emotional thread, I began to learn how to love. Gavin's handsome appearance and gentle personality made me immerse myself in him. Not just for the task. The system taught me how to pursue him, bringing him breakfast, blocking his drinking, showing concern. Gavin remained warm yet distant. Just as I was on the verge of giving up, he promised me that once the company went public, we would be together. So, I doubled my efforts to care for him. But in the end, all I received was his public announcement with my sister. The suffocating feeling forced me to open my eyes wide. I looked around, realizing I was likely in a hospital. My heart felt hollow, as if something had been lost, or perhaps it had always been like this. I heard footsteps, and when I looked up, Gavin entered the room. I struggled to sit up. The emotional thread had been severed, and the pain had faded, leaving me drained. President Gavin. He froze, furrowing his brows. What did you just call me? I was confused. I'm your secretary. And you're the chairman. Isn't that how I should address you? I had some shares. But I didn't hold an important position. I understood he was guarding against me for the sake of his interests. Gavin seemed to recall something. And his expression softened. Waverly. I didn't mean to break my word. But your personality is too strong. We're not suited for each other. Don't be upset. We can still be friends. Upset? I thought I should be. After all, he had wasted 7 years of my emotions, only to abandon me in the end. But as I reflected, I realized I didn't feel any anger. Not even sadness. My heart was calm. He continued, speaking as if on autopilot. Your sister Lulu, her personality matches her name. Every time you and I have a disagreement, she's the one who apologizes on your behalf. I thought announcing it at the banquet would be fair to her and also allow you to let go. His words sounded strange. But I couldn't pinpoint exactly what was off about them. I didn't want to dwell on it. Nor did I want to hear more of these nonsensical things. So I nodded obediently. Yes, having so filled my obsession. I've already let go. President Gavin. How are things with the new stock offering? Gavin's expression turned strange. Although I had gone along with what he said, he didn't seem pleased. You've really let go? We're still friends. No need for this sarcasm. I was getting impatient with him dragging out the emotional talk. So I nodded again. Really? Really? Now. Could you update me on the company's stock situation? He seemed even more displeased. You fainted from sadness last night, how can you let go so quickly? Stop pretending. I know you're hurting. Rest. I'll go for now. I didn't understand why he wasn't happy now that he had a new love. I went back to work as usual. Arriving early to organize Gavin's schedule. I waited until he came in to brief him. Gavin arrived just on time, briefly glancing at the bag on my desk, then smiled. Waverly. I'm with Lulu now, so you don't need to prepare my breakfast anymore. I only realized then that I was hungry. The breakfast I had bought sat untouched while I focused on my work. I opened the bag. President Gavin. You misunderstood. This is my breakfast. My sister is thoughtful and considerate. Of course. She'll prepare breakfast for you. I won't do it anymore in the future. Honestly. I didn't think much of my sister. I only remembered how she would act pitiful after making mistakes and then make me take the fall. But if Gavin said she was considerate, then I suppose that's the reason he's with her. I didn't care about these small things. Gavin's smile faded, and he stared at me for a few seconds. His tone turned cold. Get ready for the meeting. Was it because the company's IPO was such a huge deal, and as chairman, the pressure had gotten to him? Or perhaps he had grown used to me preparing his breakfast every day, and now that it had stopped, he couldn't adjust? I thought about it for a moment, but found no answers. So I let it go. His girlfriend could take care of him. I was just a secretary. My job was to do my tasks. Anything else was none of my business. Gavin had a meeting with the executives, so I let the assistant handle the tea and coffee. I checked the files once and then waited calmly. The meeting started at 9:30. Gavin listened to the reports, took a sip of tea, and immediately frowned. The presenter, seeing his displeasure, stopped and looked at him. I, holding my tablet, also glanced at him, waiting for instructions. Gavin stared at me in silence. I couldn't tell what was wrong. I raised an eyebrow, puzzled. President Gavin. Is something wrong? He held the teacup, sighed deeply, and said, It's fine. Continue. I shifted my gaze to the screen. Is it possible that his mood swings could affect the company's development? I was starting to worry about the company's future and wondering whether I should resign. By the time the meeting ended, it was already noon. Gavin walked up to my desk. Are you still angry? I stood up respectfully. Is there anything you need, President Gavin? He tugged at his tie. Since you woke up, you've been opposing me. You didn't even prepare the tea properly. I've told you. We're not suited. You can't change anything by acting like this. I recognized every word, but couldn't understand the meaning when they came together. I froze for a moment. Then remembered. He doesn't drink green tea usually. I'd prepare coffee for him. Today, the assistant had prepared green tea by default. I sighed with relief. It wasn't a big deal. It was my mistake. I forgot to remind the assistant to prepare coffee for you, I said. He furrowed his brows. You had the assistant prepare it? Was that a problem too? I nodded. That's the assistant's responsibility. After all, I'm the secretary, responsible for organizing the documents. My meals have always been your responsibility. I'm not used to someone else serving me tea and water. Oh, he has a thing about cleanliness. But I looked at him sincerely. You said we each have our own responsibilities. If you really don't want to, you might as well prepare your own tea. I have enough work on my hands. Gavin widened his eyes. What do you mean? I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. It was my mistake. Trying to take on the assistant's duties and causing you inconvenience. I won't do it again. It seemed as though Gavin was laughing in anger. Fine. If that's the case, you should hand over your shares. What's the point of a secretary holding shares? Why not give them to Lulu? She's my girlfriend. And I should be giving her security. I fell silent. He mocked. You can't keep up the act anymore? I shook my head. It's not that. I don't have anything to act about. It's just, Mr. Gavin. Are you planning to buy my shares at market value? He froze, staring at me for a long time. His gaze filled with disbelief and some complex emotion I couldn't understand. Did I say something wrong? Or was he having second thoughts? Deciding not to buy the shares after all? Or maybe he intended to take them without paying? That wouldn't work. Before I could say anything, he finally spoke, his voice trembling. You really want to sell your shares? I countered. Why wouldn't I? Is this something valuable? Besides, I think if I don't sell them now, under his leadership, the stock price will plummet. And I'll lose everything. He locked eyes with me. You said before that the shares represent the struggles we've been through together all these years. I looked at him disapprovingly. Mr. Gavin, don't say that. It could easily be misunderstood. This isn't some token of love. Tell me, when did we ever sign a contract? Gavin walked away in a huff. I wasn't sure what exactly had upset him. I watched him leave, sighed, and thought about the chairman's madness. What's to become of us workers? As for what the shares represented, I had said that because I liked him. I wanted to hold on to every memory tied to him. But now, my heart was empty. When he mentioned his girlfriend, even my sister, there was no stir of emotion in me. This is who I really am now. A monster without feelings. I no longer yearned for love. And I didn't care about family. My sister stealing my men didn't bother me. Even without feelings, my life wasn't hollow. I still had desires. Financial freedom, fame, heaven fulfilled my obsession. The things people in society covet, these are things I should chase after too. And now, without love, I found myself even more focused on these pursuits. Lulu brought Gavin his lunch. When she saw me, she grinned provocatively. Sister, I told you. Someone like you could never be loved. After all those years of licking Gavin's boots. In the end, he still picked me. You're right, I said, my tone flat. I wish you and Gavin a long and happy life together. Sister, didn't you faint before? Were you crying in bed at night? You can't even bring yourself to say congratulations. Don't say anything if you can't mean it. I don't mind. After thinking for a moment, I tried to imitate what most people would say to a new couple. My congratulations are sincere. I truly hope you and Gavin find happiness together. But don't bother inviting me to your wedding. I'm not interested in giving a gift. You must be crazy for money. No wonder Gavin doesn't want you. You monster. Lulu couldn't keep her smile anymore. I still nodded obediently. Let me, this monster, lose love and make money my companion. You. Lulu hesitated, then suddenly smirked. I knew you were all talk. Just wait and see how much Gavin loves me. I shook my head. Love was never what I sought. Since Lulu was here, I took out the prepared share transfer agreement. The internet was full of stories about Gavin's loyalty. How he didn't care about social status, he was the ruthless CEO, oh. And she was the Cinderella. People love that kind of fairy tale romance. The stock price was affected, rising steadily. If I didn't sell my shares now, there might never be another opportunity. Yes, Graceful Xianxia. I had no faith in the company's future. I'd given my all to the company, only to be given a token position. In the past, love had blinded me to the truth. But now, with my desire for money, I had nothing left to care about. I placed the contract on Gavin's desk, opening the pen cap thoughtfully and glancing at both of them. Mr. Gavin, let's sign it now, so your girlfriend can feel at ease. Lulu's eyes sparkled with excitement, and she shyly hooked her arm around Gavin's. Gavin let out a low sigh. You're too good to me. I'll love you even more. But Gavin didn't look at her. He stared at me instead. Are you serious? I've already signed it. It's just your turn now. Perhaps my impatience was too obvious in my tone. He sneered. Are you in such a hurry to distance yourself from me? Didn't you love me so much? 7 years. And just a few days later, you've let it all go? I didn't expect you to be so heartless. Lulu tugged at his sleeve. Speaking softly, Gavin let out a low sigh. Don't say that about my sister. She never understood love. After all these years, she's probably tired. And it's just too much to bear now. But now you have me. I'll do everything for you that she did. Gavin's gaze darkened, and as he grabbed the pen, yet he hesitated to sign. I stared at the pen's tip, unable to resist urging him. Mr. Gavin, why? Please sign it quickly. Don't keep your girlfriend waiting. It seemed something I'd said had triggered him, and he swiftly signed his name. With that final stroke, it felt as though something had snapped. A bond broken. My heart lightened, as if I had shed a heavy weight. Looking at the couple before me, their image in my mind had elevated, now almost on par with wealth-bringing deities. I didn't hold back my words. I wish you both a lifetime of happiness. Lulu beamed. Sister. We will. Gavin kept his head lowered, his expression unreadable. Before leaving, Lulu pulled me aside. The last of your feelings for him? You sold that too. Sister. Don't hang around the company anymore. A secretary's position doesn't sound like something good. I suggest you leave before Gavin fires you. I could leave, but I couldn't quit without compensation. It wasn't worth it. I thought for a moment and then looked at Lulu. Why don't you have Gavin fire me? Lulu's tone dripped with disdain. You want me to be the bad guy? Are you provoking me? Let me tell you. You don't need me to say anything. He won't keep you. Don't even think about ruining what we have. I hurried to explain. You misunderstood. I'm serious. Since Gavin loves you so much, I'm sure he'd fire me for your sake. You should persuade him soon, so I can get my compensation and leave. I have no interest in your relationship. And I'm not interested in Gavin either. Lulu's gaze flickered with suspicion. You really let go? Why does everyone keep asking this? I sighed. Really? I don't like anyone now. You can call me a monster if you want, I am one. I don't have any emotions. Gavin won't like someone like me. You two can be together. I won't interfere. I wanted to get away from them. Otherwise, I don't know how many times I'd have to repeat myself. Why doesn't anyone believe me? Lulu snorted. I'll talk to him. Just don't regret it later. Lulu was good at following through. That very night, I received a call from Gavin. Waverly, are you really that eager to leave? Even if we can't be lovers, we can still be friends. Lulu isn't a stranger. She's your sister. You can't accept that? Gavin's voice was strained. It was Lulu who wanted me gone. I'd merely agreed to go along with it. After all, staying wasn't appealing. The prospects weren't good. The boss was mentally unstable, and my sister was stirring up trouble. I didn't want to explain any more, he wouldn't believe me. No one has ever believed me over my sister. Not once. And that's been proven countless times since childhood. I didn't need Gavin to test if that would change. When do you plan on firing me? Gavin chuckled lightly. I'm at the Starry Bar VIP room. There's a social gathering. Come over now. I was already set on leaving. Why should I listen to my boss? So I answered with confidence. I'm not coming. Gavin's tone remained casual. If you don't come, I won't let you leave. If you resign, you won't get any compensation. I took a deep breath. I'll go now. Damn capitalist. Threatening with money. When I arrived, the atmosphere in the VIP room was lively. Gavin was holding a glass of wine. His face flushed, clearly from drinking. During these social gatherings, as a junior in the business world, people would often force alcohol on him under various pretenses. Most of it was ill-intentioned. A way to take advantage of him. After the midway point of every gathering, it was always me who blocked the alcohol for Gavin. From initially feeling a stomachache to now, I had developed quite a tolerance. Gavin pulled me close, just like before, and complained, I can't drink anymore. Normally, I would have said, I'll do it. But now, I just pulled my hand away. Has the deal been settled? No subordinate willingly drinks for their boss. Back then, I did it because I cared about him. But now, seeing his slightly dazed eyes, his furrowed brows, there was no sympathy in me. Gavin's hand fell empty, and he froze. Waverly, you've changed. Why? Why have you become like this? It shouldn't be like this. This isn't how it should be. Gavin's breath quickened, and he grasped my wrist again. You love me, don't you? Waverly, you love me. He became more and more certain as he spoke, but when he saw my emotionless expression, his voice dropped, growing more uncertain. Waverly, do you still love me? 7 years. How could 7 years of love disappear? You're just angry. Right? Tell me. He shook my hand. The music in the room was loud, the chatter boisterous. And someone came over holding a drink. President Gavin. I raise my glass to you. I'll be relying on you a lot from now on. Gavin stared at his glass, then suddenly shoved it into my hand, his tone unyielding. You drink for me. The person jokingly added. Oh. The beautiful secretary has arrived. Are you going to drink for your boss again? Then one more drink for you. He filled the glass to the brim with alcohol. The sharp, pungent smell of strong liquor filling the air. My least favorite type of alcohol. It burned all the way down my throat into my stomach. Unpleasant and harsh. I didn't want to drink, so I pressed the glass to Gavin's lips. President Gavin. This is for you. I'm not daring enough to drink it on your behalf. You should drink it. Gavin gripped my hand, pushing the glass back toward me. Drink. The man's smile grew sinister. Lulu won't give me face? Why all the hesitation? Or do you want to drink with me privately after this? Both of them were staring at me, and I looked down at the glass. Should I pour it on Gavin's head or splash it in his face? What face? Why should I give face to someone who has no vested interest in me? My boss? If he gets angry and fires me. Even better. I hadn't made up my mind yet, when a voice cut through the scene. Are you really forcing a girl to drink? You can do something like that? The voice was light, casual, but carrying a bit of recklessness. Gavin. So this is what kind of boss you are. I never would have guessed. I carefully studied the face. Even more striking under the dim lights. Gavin's arch-nemesis. The man Lulu had chased but never caught. A rare gem among the rich second generation. Silas grabbed the glass from my hand. I couldn't help frowning. I hadn't splashed it yet. What a pity. What a perfect opportunity to anger the boss. Silas raised an eyebrow, seeming to read my thoughts, and placed the glass back in front of me. Do whatever you want. I still got another glass. I stared at him, puzzled, and he remained calm. I've got your back. Whatever his intentions were. I decided to play my part in this. I was more than happy to pour the burning liquor on Gavin's head. He froze, then looked at me in disbelief. Waverly, what are you doing? I shrugged. Didn't you feel it? Silas chuckled lowly. There's one more. He pushed his own glass toward me. I didn't disappoint him, raising the glass and splashing the drink in the man's face. You. He started to curse, but Silas's icy gaze fixed on him. Not leaving? Are you waiting for me to do it myself? Silas spoke coldly. The man forced a smile. I'll leave now. No need to trouble you. Silas then looked at me. a faint smile in his eyes. I can't drive after drinking. Can you give me a ride? I was reluctant. I wanted to go home and rest. He added. I'll pay. Without thinking. I nodded. All right. Let's go. Suddenly, my hand was grabbed, and I looked down to see Gavin. His eyes read. You're not going to care about me? Just leaving me here? Before I could respond, Silas scoffed. You're a grown man. What's wrong with leaving you here? I agreed, nodding. Waverly. I ignored him and walked straight out the door. In the car, I turned to Silas, who was sitting in the passenger seat. Where do you live? Half-lidded eyes. He sounded weary. Taham residence. I blinked in surprise. What a coincidence, I lived there too. But I didn't say it aloud. If he decided we were on the way and tried to save himself a cab fare, I'd have no grounds to argue. We drove in silence until he reached the gates of the complex. I pulled over, pretending I'd be leaving soon. He glanced at me, studied me for a moment, and chuckled softly. I know you live here. Go ahead. Don't drive into the garage. As he spoke, he picked up his phone and started tapping. A notification pinged from my own phone. So I had his WeChat after all. I didn't even remember when we dated each other. He transferred the money directly. I accepted it without hesitation and drove into the underground parking lot. After I parked, he didn't get out right away. I heard you're quitting, he said, the white glare of the garage lights softening his gaze with an odd tenderness. I happen to have a position open. Would you be interested? I turned to him, intrigued. What kind of position? I'd heard his company had excellent benefits. Never thought I'd be headhunted, and by the boss himself. No less. Mrs. President, he said casually. Annual salary, 1 million. I snapped my head toward him. Are you drunk? Or has the alcohol gone to your brain? He smirked. In families like mine, there's always infighting. I need a wife to stabilize my standing. Only when I have a household will my grandfather hand over the shares. Plus, having fulfilled my absai. It'll give me a good family man image, good for business. He wasn't wrong. Still, I hesitated. Do I need to do anything specific? I've got zero experience in rich people politics. His smile deepened. No need. Just be a normal wife. Maybe accompany me to a few events now and then. That didn't sound bad at all. All right, I said. But about that salary, when do we sign the contract? No contract, he replied, brushing a strand of hair from my ear. I glared at him. But he continued lazily. Tomorrow we'll go to the bank. I'll pay you first. Then we'll get the marriage license. That way, you'll feel secure. If I don't pay, you can divorce me and take half my assets. Pretty good deal, don't you think? He actually sounded decent. You're not afraid I'll just take the money and run? I asked, curious where his confidence came from. He shook his head. I trust you. When I held the bank card and marriage certificate in my hands, I felt a flicker of novelty and nothing more. Silas told me to move into his villa. So I did, taking the room next to his. He said he'd plan a grand wedding to announce our union. I waved him off. Since the new job was settled, the old one could go. But after days of waiting, Gavin still hadn't fired me. Finally, I went to find him. Didn't you say you were going to fire me? After what happened at the bar, I thought he'd be furious enough to throw me out, but his expression was oddly calm. Lulu and I aren't doing well, he said flatly. And that was my problem because, I repeated, when are you firing me? He looked strained, as if holding something back. Do you really not care about me at all? I can break up with her for you. I frowned. Why would you do that? I never asked you to. Waverly, don't be like this. I regret everything. Lulu and I are incompatible. You're the one who suits me. I'll end things with her right now. We can start over. Okay? Before I could answer, he dialed her number. The call connected almost instantly. Lulu's voice, bright with hope, came through. Gavin, you're finally talking to me again. Let's break up, he said coldly. Her voice froze mid-laugh. What? What did you just say? Is it because of Waverly? I knew she couldn't stand us together. Gavin, Gavin. Don't listen to her. He rubbed his temples. This is all your fault. You approached me on purpose. Made me forget about Waverly. I never liked you. If it weren't for you, she and I would have been together long ago. Don't ever contact me again. Gavin. He hung up and turned to me expectantly. I broke up with her. Waverly. Aren't you happy? I blinked. Why would I be? Whatever happens between you two has nothing to do with me. He lowered his head. Defeated. What will it take for you to forgive me? How did things end up like this? Waverly. What should I do? I cut him off. When are you firing me? When he looked up again. Madness flickered in his eyes. He actually laughed. Waverly. I'm not letting you go. Why did everything always have to be on his terms? He was the one who made promises. The one who pushed me away. The one who regretted it, and now he wanted to trap me again. If his regret had come sooner. Back when I still had feelings for him. Maybe I would have softened. But now? There was nothing left. His words only made me tired. My choices should be mine. I frowned. I'm married now. Stop saying things like that. You were the one who left. What? Now you want to pick me up again for another round of emotional charity? I don't have time for your games. Mr. Gavin. He stared at me. Disbelieving. Married? Don't lie to me. You've been single for years, you expect me to believe that? The next second. My phone rang. Silas's voice came through. Calm and magnetic. Waverly. Let's have lunch together. Then we'll go pick out wedding rings. You said you wanted to quit, right? Just don't go in today, focus on our wedding. I tilted the phone so Gavin could hear. You heard him. Mr. Gavin. I'm busy. On the other end. Silas chuckled softly, but there was a warning beneath his tone. Gavin. Stop pestering my wife. Gavin's gaze darkened. Waverly. He's just trying to take everything from me. He doesn't love you. You can't marry him. I nodded mildly. Doesn't matter. Love or not. It's fine. You can accept that, but not me? He demanded. I made one mistake. That's all. We still have time. We can start over. Silas's voice cut in. Are you really trying to steal my wife right in front of me? Whatever my reasons are. They have nothing to do with you. But you abandoned her. You don't get to start over. Waverly. Silas added. Ignore him. I'll pick you up for lunch. As I turned to leave, Gavin lunged forward, grabbing my wrist. Divorce him. You don't love him. And he doesn't love you. But I love you. Isn't that enough? Love. Money, what difference did it make? At least with Silas. There was a clear financial future. He'd already prepaid my marriage salary. Gavin, on the other hand, looked ready to run his company into the ground. I eyed his hand coolly. What's this? A bidding war? He's offering $1 million a year. Can you match that? But I love you. Isn't that enough? He pleaded. Your love is so cheap. Why do you think it's enough? I don't need your love. I jerked my hand away from him. His promises had never been kept. He promised we'd be together when the company went public. Promised he'd fire me if I went to the bar to meet him. He didn't keep a single one. I suddenly felt foolish. Knowing what kind of person he was. Yet still believing in him. After leaving Gavin's office, I hurriedly wrote my resignation letter and sent it directly to HR. I didn't want anything. My resignation process was completed quickly. By noon, I packed my things and went downstairs. As I looked back at the place where we had worked together, something inside me felt suddenly hollow. I couldn't put the feeling into words. Out of nowhere, someone rushed toward me and slammed into me. I wasn't prepared, and the box in my hands fell to the ground, making me trip and fall. Waverly. You said you wouldn't steal my boyfriend. Why didn't you keep your promise? I knew it. You always pretend to be so pure. Saying you wouldn't fight with me. But in the end, everything falls into your hands. My head hit the edge of the flower bed, and a buzzing sound filled my ears. Only faintly hearing Lulu's curses. I didn't have the strength to get up. What are you acting so high and mighty for? I'm more likable than you. So why does everyone praise you? Just because your grades are higher than mine? But you're a monster with no feelings. No one likes a monster. In the haze, I instinctively wanted to retort. She was wrong. No one truly liked me. I got good grades. But they only praised me for that. Every time I fell ill, no one cared about me. No one knew what I liked. Lulu always stole my things. But no one blamed her. Whenever she wasn't happy in front of me, everyone blamed me for bullying her. But it was her bullying me. She stole my toys, my new clothes, everything I showed any interest in, and took all the attention and love. And she got everything, but then blamed me for stealing from her. It was so ridiculous. But I didn't have any emotional ties. No love. No familial or friendly bonds. When others didn't like me, I didn't feel sad. She stole the person I had loved for 7 years. I should have been upset. But before I could feel sadness, my emotions were already gone. So I still wasn't sad. How much more would she need before she was satisfied? How could they stop blaming everything on me? How could they stop clinging to me and accept my decision to leave? What liquid was slowly flowing down the back of my head? I closed my eyes slowly. I was so tired. Even though I didn't fight, didn't want anything, people still blamed me. I just wanted to live my life, not affecting anyone. Was that so hard? A voice inside me whispered. Don't think about it. Don't think. Just sleep. It'll be okay when you fall asleep. I sank into a sea of darkness. When I woke again, I was in a clean, single hospital room. The emptiness inside me seemed even bigger now. Endless. As if even desire was fading. What freedom. What wealth at all seemed so inconsequential. I stared blankly at the ceiling. Motionless. There was no point in doing anything. It wouldn't matter. The door to the room was gently pushed open. And someone sat beside me. I didn't move. Didn't look. It didn't matter. The person spoke gently. Drink some water. I stayed still. And he gently raised the head of the bed, placing a straw in the cup and bringing it to my lips. Silas coaxed. Drink some water. It's warm. You've been lying here all day. I dumbly opened my mouth and bit the straw. The warm water soothed my lips and throat as it flowed into my stomach, bringing a bit of warmth. He opened a thermos. This is your favorite fish porridge. I wanted to say I didn't have any favorites. But a voice deep inside me whispered. It's what you like. But you've forgotten because you can't have it. Silas spooned me the porridge. And I opened my mouth every time he offered it, mechanically repeating the motions of swallowing. After the porridge, he helped me into a wheelchair. The doctor said you have a serious concussion. And you'll feel dizzy when walking. You should use the wheelchair for now. I'll take you out for a walk. I stayed silent, letting him move me. Once outside the hospital building, I realized this was a private hospital. I vaguely remembered that it might be Silas's. He wheeled me to the garden beside the inpatient area. The trees were phoenix trees, which bloomed red flowers in the spring. Bright and splendid. The bushes were Milan, with small yellowish flowers like little dots. Lively and cute. In the flowered were camellia trees. In shades of yellow, pink, net out a low sigh, and white, fresh and elegant. These are all your favorites. I had them planted when this place was developed. They've grown well over the years. From his words, I sensed something different. But I didn't want to dwell on it. I let those thoughts drift away. Under the shade of the trees, he sat on the grass beside me, leaning against the wheelchair. He seemed to be talking to me, but also talking to himself. Gavin really deserves it. He built a persona with the CEO falling for the pure girl trope, and now it's biting him back. His chosen girlfriend caused a scene outside his company. And someone took pictures. The story got out. And people found out Gavin is a jerk. His company's stock crashed. And I heard they're laying off employees and are swamped with work. Actually, I'm kind of happy. I finally have a chance to be with the person I like. She only had eyes for others before. But now, it's just me. Although she doesn't like me yet, I believe I can make her love me. Just like she once loved someone else so passionately. This time, it's me chasing her. A gentle breeze brushed through the hollow space in my heart. I blinked and looked down, Seeing the black top of his head glimmering faintly in the sunlight, Silas suddenly took my hand. You may not believe me now. But it's okay. I'll prove it. I just hope you don't run away. The rest is easy. Just stay where you are and wait for me. I slowly turned the thought over. It wasn't impossible. Anyway, heaven fulfilled my obsession. I no longer had expectations or love. Even if I was abandoned and again in the end, it wouldn't matter. At least he was paying me. And I was a little curious. Did he really like me? This monster? How long could he last? When would he discover my true face? I spent several days in the hospital. And Silas brought some work with him to handle in my room. He gathered up all the things I used to love, the ones I had long forgotten, and placed them in front of me. I felt a sudden pang of guilt. After I was discharged, Silas insisted on keeping me by his side, firmly stating, I'm paying you a salary. You're my wife. Of course. You should be with me. I started running errands for him, gradually taking on some of the responsibilities of a secretary. And eventually, I even helped him with some of his tasks. He hugged me joyfully. I knew you were the best. You're exactly who I picked. Then, his tone shifted. When are we going to have the wedding? I've already picked out the rings and the dress. And the wedding planning is finished. We just need to set a date. I gazed out at the blue sky and white clouds through the floor-to-ceiling windows. A sense of freedom washing over me. It's up to you. He laughed even more, pulling out a photo to show me. This is my dad. He's very controlled by my mom. And this is my mom. She's a bit wild. I have a younger brother who loves to sing. My uncle's an artist. And my aunt's a dancer. My aunt's a businesswoman and a staunch feminist. The more he spoke, the more confused I became. Wait. You told me your family's all about rivalry and backstabbing. Where's all that? He laughed, ruffling my hair. I was just kidding. Good thing I fooled you. You're not mad, are you? If I told you that every time you moved, I followed you and moved nearby, would that make you even madder? He was grinning mischievously. But I could sense a brief flash of insecurity in his eyes. A strange feeling stirred in me, but it wasn't unpleasant. I placed a hand on my chest, feeling my heart beat wildly. It felt like an emotional pull. But this sensation was deeper. More real. More intense than the fleeting emotions I'd once had for 7 years. In that moment, I understood. It wasn't that there was no emotion. It wasn't that I was numb to feelings. As long as someone truly loved me, treated me with care and sincerity, even a heart that had dried up could be filled with warmth. I'm not angry, I said. Then paused and suddenly raised an eyebrow, smiling at him. No. I am angry. How do you plan on making it up to me? Silas froze, staring into my eyes in disbelief. Then reached out to touch the corner of my eye. Waverly, I'll make up for it with the rest of my life. Will you accept that? I leaned forward and kissed the corner of his lips. On our wedding day, the weather was perfect. Silas had already introduced me to his family and friends. For the first time, I felt the warmth and affection coming from all directions. Most of the guests on the lawn were people I knew. Strangely, even in a gathering where most of the guests were from his side, I felt more at home, more at ease, than I ever did with my own family. At first, I hadn't planned on inviting my parents. I didn't want to see them, and I definitely didn't want them to show up at my wedding and still only have eyes for my sister. I had slowly begun to understand different types of love: the love from Silas's family, the friendship from his friends. It made me realize how emotionally barren my past life had been. That's why I didn't want to see my so-called parents and sister. But something unexpected happened. My parents reached out to me, apologizing for their mistakes. They sent Lulu back to the countryside, where she couldn't bother me anymore. And my elders promised to take care of her. A longing for parental love stirred within me. Silas and I stood on the stage, and I glanced at my parents, noticing the care and blessing they gave me, something I'd never received from them before. In that moment, I thought to myself, this is complete. I hadn't seen Gavin in a long time. I heard that his company had gone bankrupt. The employees were complaining, blaming him for driving me away, claiming his incompetence had caused the company's downfall. I also heard that he was leaving, planning to use the remaining funds to open a small studio in a smaller town. None of that mattered to me anymore. It was time for Silas and me to begin our honeymoon. As we entered the airport, I caught a fleeting glimpse of a familiar figure in the distance. Silas squeezed my hand, giving me a jealous look. "Stop looking. Even if you look, you can't be with him." I shook our joined hands. "You're being petty. It's been ages since I last talked to him. How could I be with him?" His expression softened, and a proud smile spread across his face. I huffed, not saying another word. Don't think I didn't know. Gavin had been coming around to find me. But every time, his people blocked him. Not that I wanted to see him anyway.